I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping. Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 7 plant protein bars, 4 hydration mixes, and 4 enhanced coffee sticks. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Again, go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20.
Good morning, League fans. My name's Steve Mascot. It is Thursday, the 12th of March, and you're on Good Morning, League fans, because I've already said that. Good morning, League fans. I'll say it a third time. We've got a great show coming up, and we've just had an NRL game kick off. It's Brisbane at home to Parramatta, so our main order of business over the next hour will be to keep you up to date with that match. But also coming up later in the show is the York owner, Clint Goodchild, talking about his club's relationship with the New York Knights, a great heritage club from the American scene that is being revived thanks to Clint and the York Knights. So that's coming up a bit later in the hour. Why don't we start with the news? And 2 big stories today. Well, one was yesterday, and that's Kalyn Ponga has successfully applied to change his country of election from Australia to New Zealand. So he'll be playing in the World Cup, barring injury, for New Zealand, and will continue to play for Queensland, of course, which is allowable under the new state of origin rules. Can't see any negative to that. Only the people who sort of sticks in the mud and still think that origin is a selection trial for Australia, which it isn't, because Origin's bigger than Test football now, and it is such a huge money spinner for our game that and also we're a small sport, so we're going to share those players around properly, as many places as possible. We want to play for as many teams as possible, the good players, and so he's properly eligible for Queensland, he's properly eligible for New Zealand, so play on as far as I'm concerned. Also, Mitch Barnett has found a club. He is leaving the New Zealand Warriors for personal reasons, and he's going to play for the Broncos. Now, I did hear some Warriors fans say when he was released, I hope he goes, he's from New South Wales, wants to be closer to family because of an illness of his child. I hope he goes to a New South Wales team. So that's very interesting that he hasn't gone to a New South Wales team, and that's probably going to upset some fans of the Warriors. Nevertheless, the Auckland side, they will get a Broncos player or 2 in return. We don't know who that is going to be. Okay, let's go through the starting sides. As I said, we've just had kickoff in Auckland, so we'll have a look at the starting sides for the 2 round 1 losers, the Broncos and the Eels. For the Broncos, Reece Walsh, Josiah Karapani, Katoni Staggs, Germat Shibasaki, Dean Mariner. Ezra Mam this week is starting in the game at 5'8", partnering Adam Reynolds, of course. And the forwards are Corey Jensen, Corey Pakes, Payne Haas, Jack Gazetsky, Jordan Ricky, Pat Carrigan. Bench is Ben Hunt, Xavier Wilson, Ben Talty, Alex Tawa, Grant Anderson, and Jaden Hunt. And for the Eels, from fullback, Will Penasini is out with a groin injury. They don't know the seriousness of that. So it's Isaiah Longy, Bailey Simonson, Sean Russell, Jordan Samrani, Josh Adokar, who was in a bit of doubt, Jonah Pezzett, Mitchell Moses, and the bench, the forwards, Jack Williams, Riley Smith, Junior Paulo, Kelma Tuolangi, Katoni Katonga, Jack DeBellin, and now the bench, Dylan Walker, Sam Tuivati, Matt Dorey, Talon De Silva, Charlie Geimer, Joash Papali'i, very important differentiation there. And our referee is Wyatt Raymond. In the bunker is Ashley Klein. And the weather in Vegas is mid-20s, quite balmy, really. Not a bad morning here in London, where the show's coming to you from today. Finally, it's time for rugby league birthdays. And let's go through Lee Jackson, the Newcastle Knights premiership winner, Great Britain, England, rest of the world, 57 today. Happy birthday to Lee Jackson. Steve Price, who is 52 today. That is not the coach, the prop forward from played for Australia, Queensland. Also played for the All Golds, which is a great honour for him. Paul Rowley, the coach of St Helens, just writing a story at the moment where in rugbyleaguehub.com that he's mentioned. He is 51 today. Monty Beetham is 48 today, the hooker from the Warriors. Lee Gilmore, very well-travelled centre over here in England, 48 today. There's quite a few well-known players having birthdays today. Gareth Widdop is only 37 today. 37. Happy birthday to the 5'8" from the Dragons and Melbourne and England. Callum Watkins still going strong at 35 from Leeds. Happy birthday, Callum Watkins. Ryan Briley, now the CEO at the at Salford Red Devils, 34 today. Geez, they're babies, aren't they? We've got anyone else? Xavier Coates, he is 25 today. There we go. So basically, coming up after the first break, I'll bring you up to date with what's happening at Suncorp Stadium. And remember, later in the hour, Clint Goodchild. Early penalty against the Eels for a high shot, but they managed to hold the Broncos out. Broncos, though, with another set of 6 coming up in the opposition quarter. So a short time ago, that scoreline at Suncorp Stadium, it was 0-0, Brisbane and Parramatta. Brisbane 0, Parramatta 0. And that line dropout we told you about earlier, the Eels were unable to repel another Brisbane attacker. It was Reece Walsh with a dummy from 10 metres out and a swan dive over the line. The fullback for the Broncos, converted by Adam Reynolds. And as we head towards, there's 6 or 7 minutes gone at Lang Park. Brisbane 6, Parramatta 0. Brisbane 6, Parramatta 0. Dean Mariner with a little kick. With a try off a little kick. And the Broncos are back, I can tell you. Converted by Adam Reynolds. And the scoreline has moved on to Brisbane 12, Parramatta 0. Jack Kajetsky for the Broncos, losing the ball over the line, but it was ruled to have sort of been ripped out and knocked on by the defending team, Parramatta. So the Broncos get the ball back. That scoreline a short time ago, Brisbane 12, Parramatta 0. Brisbane 12, Parramatta 0. Parramatta are on the board. Kelma Tuolangi with a tearaway try, powerhouse try. He broke the line 15 metres out and beat 3 defenders. The big back rower and Mitchell Moses with the conversion attempt, which was successful. So they started like a house on fire, Brisbane taking a 12-0 lead. But now, just over midway through that first half, a try to Kelma Tuolangi, converted by Mitchell Moses, and it's Brisbane 12, Parramatta 6. Brisbane 12, Parramatta 6. We've got a possible try to Ezra Mammoth's. No try on the field. He dived on a ball that was lolling in the in-goal area. But while the video referee, the bunker, have a look at that, here's what's coming up this weekend on rugbyleague.com, where too much league isn't enough. And Friday night, Mick, the game caller Gledhill, will be bringing you the match in the Challenge Cup between Wigan and Bradford. Saturday, David Kane and the Super League Raw crew are at Warrington for Gould versus Warrington. And on Sunday, yours truly, Steve Mascord, will be at the 1895 Cup encounter at Richmond Athletic Oval. And that is London hosting Barrow. So there you go, 3 Challenge Cup games this weekend on rugbyleague.com, and I'll come back after this song with the outcome of the bunkers. And as expected, it was no try to Parramatta, but an indiscretion on the part of the Parramatta defence was uncovered by the bunker. So it was a penalty in front to the Broncos, and that was gleefully snaffled by Adam Reynolds. The scoreline now with just under a quarter of an hour left in the first half at Suncorp Stadium. It's Brisbane 14, Parramatta 6. Brisbane 14, Parramatta 6. Fumble from Parramatta, running the ball out of their own red zone, and from the turnover, Patrick Carrigan passes off to big Payne Haas, and he gets the Broncos' third try just to the right of the post. It is converted by Adam Reynolds, and that scoreline now ticks over, heading towards the final 10 minutes of the first half at Suncorp Stadium. Brisbane 20, Parramatta 6. Brisbane 20, Parramatta 6. We're in the shadows of half-time at Suncorp Stadium in the opening match of round 2 of the NRL, and the Brisbane Broncos have a pretty pronounced advantage over the Parramatta Eels. It's Brisbane 20, Parramatta 6. No change to that score from earlier. Brisbane 20, Parramatta 6. Hold the phone. We've got another try to the Parramatta Eels. This time it was a kick from Jonah Pezzett, and Payne Haas was unable to clean it up. He kind of knocked it back into his own in goal, and Riley Smith, the hooker for Parramatta, who'd started the movement, he followed through to touchdown, and we've had a successful conversion attempt, and the scoreline is now 20-12. That's Brisbane 20, Parramatta 12, and Brisbane's restart has gone out on the full just to compound matters. So there we go, just short of half time. Brisbane 20, Parramatta 12. Well, I'm tempted to start this cross with an expletive because you wouldn't believe what has happened. Isaiah Yongi has scored for the Parramatta Eels, and Mitchell Moses has converted, and that scoreline now is Brisbane 20, Parramatta 16, just short of half-time, and I don't reckon the scoring on the part of Parramatta is over. Brisbane 20, Parramatta 16. Just to correct the last cross, it was actually Kelma Tuolangi who posted his second try for the Eels, and that was in the 32nd minute, and that was followed up by Isaiah Yongi in the 35th, and the second of those tries converted by Mitchell Moses. Now, that brings us to, are you ready for this halftime score? Are you ready? Halftime score of Parramatta 22, Brisbane 20. Parramatta were being flogged halfway through that first half, and now they're actually in the ascendancy, 22-20. Let's go through the scorers. Tries to Kelma Tuolangi in the 17th and 32nd minutes. Riley Smith in the 30th. Isaiah Yongi in the 35th. And 3 goals from 4 attempts to Mitchell Moses against the Broncos, who tries to Reece Walsh in the 4th minute. Katoni Staggs in the 10th. Payne Haas in the 24th. And 4 goals from as many attempts to Adam Reynolds. The halftime score at Suncorp Stadium, it's Parramatta 22, coming from absolutely nowhere, Brisbane 20. Parramatta 22, Brisbane 20. And as promised, the chairman of York Knights, Clint Goodchild, in between the score updates from the NRL, we want to talk to him about the revival, which is completely unexpected, of the New York Knights as opposed to the York Knights. We kind of, remember the New York Knights from playing in, they played in Philadelphia when the Kangaroos played up there, and there was, Bob Balachandran and Matt Astle and all these sort of characters. But Clint, you're bringing them back. How did this happen?
Yeah, well, firstly, mate, thanks for having us on. Well, I've got a strong link with the US. Lived there for over a decade, and while I was there, mate, being the rugby league badger I am, you kind of, you follow every competition, and the New York Knights were one of the better known clubs. They went to a national championship, I think, in 2017, and were always in the mix, and just a brand and something that you casually kind of had heard of through the grapevine in rugby league world. And, when I originally kind of started to reach out and see what the story was when we brought Chris Thorman on board. So his brother Neil used to play for the New York Knights. He went over and did a stint. And when Chris told me that, I thought, really? And it kind of piqued my interest, and I reached out to a few people, and, you know, you kind of meet one and they introduce you to two and then three and then four. And you know, they've always had an appetite to get the club back up and running after COVID. And I think they probably just needed a bit of a bit of guidance and a bit of support. And I think that's something that we're able to provide.
So who are the other people involved? Because you put out a release and you kind of had a couple of other people named in there. One based in the state, or are they both based in the States?
Mate, they're both based in New York, and that's where they live their lives, and they have their careers, and they've been in the game over there for years and years. So Matt Duckworth, Ducky. I don't know if you've ever come across Matt. Played a bit at Cass and did a season here at York too. Which is nothing but pure coincidence, really. And then George Reese, he's those two have worked together. You know, they've been involved in the game over there, and they've thrown their hands up and been silly enough to say, "Yep, we'll take this on and get it off the ground." And they're starting off with a combine. So, you know, from our standpoint, mate, it's just about trying to give them as much guidance and all the little bits that you need. You know, a bit of kit, bit of playing equipment, a bit of support, and more than anything, a bit of coverage. You know, I think being able to leverage our following, and give them a bit of gloss will help it get off the ground with players and volunteers and all those things that are so important to a community club.
It sounds like it's a new club under the old name, is it? Or and then it's a matter of getting the old blokes back involved again?
Yeah, a lot of the old blokes are getting back involved, mate. You know, I was over there in November and met with, a lot of the old figureheads, the blokes who used to, kind of throw their weight behind it and do all the things again, like it's no different than, a small club over here or a small club in Australia. It's all about the people that you don't see and all the volunteers and those that give up their time that really make it happen. And there's a lot of excitement. I had a phone call with Ducky yesterday after we put out that press release, and he just said his phone's been blowing up. Blokes he hasn't heard from years, and I think half of them are using it as an excuse to line up a beer and talk about old times, which is half the fun of it as well.
Tired of workwear letting you down when you need it most? Then get your workwear from Blackladder. Our tough garments are made in our own factories with high quality production values, including a lifetime guarantee on seams. For hard-wearing trousers, jackets, safety shoes and accessories for men, and designs and cuts for women, gear up at blackladder.uk for all products and stockists. BLAKLADER.uk. Hard-wearing workwear for hard-working people.
Who doesn't cheer for a hearty Higgity pie? Can't wait to devour a Higgity steak and Guinness pie, packed full of British beef, unmistakable taste of Guinness, slow cooked with quality beef to add a rich depth. Also love Higgity's veggie 3-cheese cauliflower and broccoli pie, a deliciously rich combo of tangy mature cheddar, red Leicester and nutty Emmental. And the real hero, Higgity's creamy free-range chicken and sautéed leek pie. Delicious. Any place, any time, dig into a Higgity pie.
We're back with Clint Goodchild from the York Knights. Now, the headline-grabbing aspect of your announcement regarding the New York Knights was the possibility of a Super League game being played over there in the Big Apple. That's years in the future, is it, or what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, again, it's more of a aspiration than a plan at this point. I'd say that years is probably the right term. I think hopefully the wording didn't make it sound like we're going to do it tomorrow, but. I see no reason as to not look at it. Having been involved with what Whole KR put together with that Amsterdam. Obviously spent time with you over there as well. I think the more we can take our great game to areas that can showcase it and give our fans love a trip. They've shown that they love going to Toulouse. I'm sure they'll love going to Catalans this year, and obviously Amsterdam, they turned out really well. So. Again, our social has been blowing up in the last 24 hours going, what dates, when are we playing, who are we playing, why are we playing, where are we playing? Like, just settle down. If we do it, you'll know well in advance, and it'll be something that's planned out, at least a year in advance to make sure we can get it right.
Which Super League teams do you think will go to Vegas next year?
No idea, mate. That's something you should be telling me. Who do you think's going to Vegas next year?
Well, the suggestions were Saints and Hull FC, weren't they? But then now there's concerns that they don't want to give up a home game. So
I don't know, mate. I don't know. It's one of those. They got good fan bases. They're strong clubs. I'm sure they'd do the competition proud over there if they did go.
now, have you got over the excitement of your first game, and how long did it take to come back down to earth level from that?
Yeah, speaking with you the next day pretty much took the gloss off it, mate. So it was a special day, mate. But a week's a long time in rugby league. We were humbled the next week at Leeds, and then back to work in Hull the week after, and we had an opportunity that let slip through our fingers, I think, last week here at home too. So no, mate, it feels it while I do recognise what a great day it was, mate. It feels like an age ago now. We're all about what we've got to do this week and the rest of the year.
Just a couple more. Have you been surprised with how competitive you've been in the opening month?
No. I think not surprised at how competitive we are. I'm certainly thankful for a couple of wins. Don't get me wrong, but this team's, this club's built on we want to compete and we want to go out there and put our best foot forward. And I'm sure some weeks we'll be humbled when we play well, and other weeks we'll be rewarded when we play poorly. It's a funny old thing, sports, isn't it? But I know the character of these guys and the way that they're coached and what they've bought into, and. I think Macca said it well in that post-game interview after that first game against KR. There's a real togetherness here, and those guys show that week in, week out at training. So it's no surprise to me when they show it in front of an audience. And
finally, I mentioned this off air, but lots of interest out there, and there has been for a year or so now, about the NRL getting involved in Super League. But everyone seems to think it's close at the moment. What do you think is going to happen? Where do you think things are? Has an offer been made? Where do you think it's heading?
Again, mate, they don't come to me, for my immediate feedback. I'm a small fish in the pond, aren't I? But my understanding is that there's a formal offer incoming, and that there's a timeline attached to when that could either be done or dismissed. So I think. How do you say it without trying to give anything away? Because I think it's something that should definitely be looked at seriously. I think the NRL obviously have a track record of success, but like any deal, mate, no matter what it is, whether it's buying a car or anything, it's all about the terms. So until we have those terms of what a potential agreement and partnership could look like. It's hard to say whether it's likely or unlikely.
Thanks, Clint. Enjoy your Challenge Cup weekend.
Cheers, mate. All the best.